The Super Bowl is over. The dust has settled. And that's exactly when the good news for the Ravens starts to show up. While a lot of people are still stuck looking at last season's final record, Baltimore is already showing up in a spot that completely changes the conversation heading into 2026. And this isn't empty talk or off-season hype. These are real signs that things are starting to fall into place behind the scenes and fast. Throughout this video, you're going to see why the Ravens are already being viewed differently around the NFL, what's actually driving this optimism, and which decisions right now could determine whether this team gets back to real contention or lets a rare opportunity slip away. Stick around until the end, because what looks like a small detail today might be the exact thing that changes everything over the next few months. Even after a frustrating season, the kind that didn't excite anyone, the Ravens are already opening the offseason with a clear sign of respect from around the league. In ESPN's first post, Super Bowl Power Rankings, Baltimore checks in at number 14, right in the top half of the NFL. That's not a throwaway detail. It means that even after an 8 to 9 year, the league still sees this as a competitive team that hasn't fallen apart and remains firmly on the radar. What really stands out is that this ranking puts the Ravens ahead of every other team in the AFC North. Steelers, Bengals, Browns, all behind them. In simple terms, even after stumbling in 2025, Baltimore is still viewed as the most reliable team in the division looking ahead to 2026. That's why this bounce-back talk exists. It's not blind hope. It's a read on the roster, the structure, and recent history. This ranking also works as a patience meter. The league isn't treating the Ravens like a full rebuild. They're being viewed as a team that lost its way for a moment. That feeling of fix 2 or 3 things the right way, and they're a problem again. Favorable draft position, a weakened division, and key strategic changes all help explain why Baltimore remains well-positioned even after missing the playoffs. And when a team shows up in this spot this early in the offseason, the conversation changes automatically. The question stops being, let's see what happens, and becomes, what needs to happen for this team to take the next step? And that answer starts off the field, with major decisions being made right now. After years with John Harbaugh in charge, the Ravens hit the reset button. Bringing in Jesse Minter as the new head coach isn't just a name change at the top. It's a shift in identity. When a coach of that stature leaves, everything feels it. Philosophy, priorities, decisions, and even how the roster is evaluated all get filtered through a new lens. Minter arrives with background rooted in defense. He's not an offensive-minded coach walking in with a brand-new playbook to instantly flip the offense. His job is bigger than that, reorganizing the team, bringing structure, and making tough calls right away. Draft and free agency stop being opportunities, and turn into real tests of what this new leadership actually believes in. That's why the mood in Baltimore feels like a mix of excitement and caution. A new head coach brings hope, but also demands patience. Nothing is automatic. Players have to buy in, the staff has to align, and the front office has to move in sync with the vision being built. It's a massive puzzle, and one wrong piece can slow everything down. And in the middle of all of that, there's one reality you can't ignore. No new era truly begins until the most important player on the team is taken care of. Before schemes, identity, or the draft even come into play, the Ravens have to align their future around the player who defines the franchise. When you talk about the Ravens right now, everything runs through Lamar Jackson. That's not exaggeration, it's reality. According to Jamison Hensley, the franchise's top priority is sitting down with Lamar and resolving his contract situation. The reason is simple. His deal carries a massive $74.5 million cap hit, and that number blocks any aggressive team-building plans. That figure isn't just an accounting issue. It impacts the product on the field. Until it's adjusted, Baltimore's hands are tied when it comes to making meaningful moves in free agency. That's why the conversation is urgent, with owner Steve Bisciotti making it clear to Lamar that creating cap space before March is critical for the team to breathe. At the same time, no one inside the organization questions Lamar's value. He's the face of the franchise, the engine of the offense, and the main reason the Ravens are still viewed positively after a down year. Fixing the contract isn't about if, it's about how and when, because the future of the entire roster flows from that decision. And this negotiation doesn't exist in a vacuum. It affects everything that comes next. who stays, who leaves, who can be signed, and even what kind of system the team runs. Adjusting Lamar's deal isn't the end of the process. It's a starting point that allows everything else to make sense.
All right, we're already past the halfway point of this video, but before we continue, I noticed you haven't left a like yet. It's really important because it helps YouTube keep showing you my content so I can keep bringing you the best news about the Baltimore Ravens. So go ahead and hit that like button. It's free and it really helps. Thanks. Now let's get back to it.
With Jesse Minter focused on the defense, the Ravens' offense will be in the hands of Declan Doyle, the new offensive coordinator. That means yet another major change to Lamar Jackson, who will have to adapt to a new system once again. On the surface, that might sound risky, but Lamar's own history tells a different story. Lamar has consistently responded well to changes like this. In fact, he won MVP awards in seasons when Baltimore brought in a new offensive coordinator. That reinforces the idea that he isn't tied to one specific style, but someone who can reinvent himself when the approach shifts. That detail matters a lot when projecting what 2026 could look like. Still, the challenge is real. Lamar is coming off his lowest numbers since 2022 with 2,549 passing yards and 21 touchdowns. It's not a collapse, but it's also not the level people expect from him. This new system has to unlock his best version again, balancing creativity with efficiency, and that requires quick chemistry between player and coaching staff. And this is where everything connects again. A functional offense depends on Lamar being comfortable, confident, and fully aligned with the plan. But for that to happen, he can't be carrying the weight of a contract that limits the rest of the roster. When it comes to money, Lamar isn't the only name in the equation. Tyler Linderbaum, one of the best young centers in the NFL, becomes one of the most delicate decisions of the offseason. He's expected to test the market after not getting the offer he wanted, and keeping a player at that level takes careful financial planning. That's where the domino effect becomes obvious. If the cap isn't fixed, holding on to key players gets much harder. And losing core pieces isn't just about talent. It's about stability. A team trying to rebound quickly can't afford to strip down its foundation while installing a new coaching staff. Lamar even plays an indirect role here. He knows what tough negotiations with the front office feel like and can help build internal bridges. But good will only go so far. At the end of the day, these are cold, strategic decisions that will show whether the Ravens are truly committed to taking advantage of an open AFC and a weakened division. Baltimore enters the offseason with respect, opportunity, and real upside. What determines whether this bounce back becomes reality isn't hype or rankings. It's how the front office handles these negotiations right now. In this quiet stretch, far from the games, the true ceiling of the 2026 Ravens is being built. The Ravens step into this new phase with something few expected after a losing season. League-wide respect and real room to grow. Favorable rankings, a weakened division, major decisions ahead, and a new coaching staff create a rare setup where past mistakes still matter, but don't define the future. The path isn't guaranteed, but it's wide open, and that changes everything. The bottom line is that none of this holds up without smart execution now. Fixing Lamar's contract, aligning the new offensive system, keeping key pieces, and fully supporting Jesse Minter's vision aren't small details. They define the ceiling. If the front office gets this moment right, Baltimore can move from promise to power fast. Now I want to hear from you. Does this ranking make sense to you? Are the Ravens really ready for this bounce back, or is something big still missing? Drop your take in the comments, because this conversation is just getting started.
And if you, just like me, are passionate about the world of football and want to learn more about the Ravens' legacy, don't leave this video without sharing it with that friend who is also a Baltimore Ravens fan and will love this content. See those video suggestions on your screen? The first one was handpicked just for you, and the other is a recommendation from YouTube itself.